are some things that that we need to get better at?
I guess maybe keeping people connected.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned it again, not feeling like the college town that's in a college town, right? So it's college just in a college.
So there may be some kind of connection missing between the student body and GSW, or not GSW, but Americus maybe.
Yeah.
But so even with any organization or any church, for example, you can invite someone to an event, and they may come to that one event, but it has to be a continual relationship of constant contact of like, hey, we still have this event, we still want you to come, and things like that, and just kind of, I guess, making people feel welcome and want to come to events and stuff, but also figuring out how to get that word out in the way that's going to reach the amount of people that you want.
Welcome to the Americus Podcast, where we pursue what it means to become a next level neighbor, creating a place we enjoy with the people we love. Today, I am joined by Jacob Peed. Jacob is an admissions counselor for Georgia Southwestern State University. Go Canes.
Go Canes, baby.
It's really great to have you, Jacob. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
Yeah. Now, most of us meet in different ways, right? Jacob and I actually met at what's called a poverty simulation at GSW. Yep. So I was invited to be a volunteer. And so I show up, I sit down, and we're kind of, getting to know the other volunteers. And Jacob comes and he just sits down and we start chatting it up. Oh, yeah. And I just recognized, I was like, man, who is this guy? So we start talking, and you told me what you did, and and then I put you to the test. I was like, all right, so you're a recruiter. And I said, all right, sell me on it. And you did so well with your presentation, with your posture. So I was like, got to have you on the podcast. So what did you think about how did you get involved in the poverty simulation?
Poverty simulation. So Jeremy Wicker.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's probably the central source. But Jeremy, he is very involved in events on campus. And so he sent out a big faculty staff email and said, hey, if any of y'all want to help with this, come on. And I said, all right. So yeah, signed up.
Well, I'm glad we got a chance to meet, connect.
Yeah.
In fact, we tried to do this last week.
Yes.
So we were sitting here, we were all set up, ready to go, and had some technical difficulties. Yes. So you were very kind and gracious.
It is okay. Yes.
Yes. So, but we made plans, rescheduled for today.
Part two, baby.
Part two. Yeah. So glad we could do this. So yeah. So what we do in the podcast, obviously, is we want to talk a little bit about neighboring, and really it's about learning how to people again, right? Mm-hmm. Technology is great. I love the internet. I think there's so many things that we've learned from that, but it's also kind of put us at a distance where we begin to categorize ourselves way too much, where now I'm just looking at your feed, trying to decide who you are as a person, instead of actually having conversations, getting to know you more on a deeper level, asking you about why instead of just what. And so this is what this podcast is doing. So again, thank you so much for coming on. And my hope for us today is really just to learn a little bit about you, maybe some things even about GSW and what's going on there, and then looking towards the future of Americus as well. So Jacob, tell us a little bit. So you're not from here.
No, I am not.
All right. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up and your family dynamics.
Okay. So I am from Taylor County, Georgia.
Okay.
And so that's up the road about 45 minutes up Highway 19. And so I grew up and with my parents. I got an older brother, and I grew up, felt I was not an only child, but he went away when I got to middle school, and so felt like an only child for a little bit, and he got married real young, but eventually said, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I'm graduated from high school. So my mom and dad were a big proponent of go to college. And so one of the great, best colleges that I went and visited was Georgia Southwestern. And and so I went to school here, and bam, bada bop, here we are.
All right. So now, hold on.
Hold on.
Backtrack a little bit. All right. So tell me a little bit about just growing up. What kind of personality were you? You seem like you're an extrovert.
Yeah.
Did that start off that way? Are you just more comfortable in your own skin now? What's the...
Okay. So growing up. Okay. So my dad.
Okay.
So my dad, he is, if you ever meet him, you'll think, wow, it makes sense now. So he's a very interesting man.
Okay.
He's great. He had me from a young age singing in front of church.
Oh, wow.
And just talking to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I was the guy that dad said, hey, go do that. And you know, it may not be a normal thing, but it was just like, go do it. And so I would go do it. And so a lot of my extrovertedness comes from not caring what other people think, because I've been through a lot of not caring, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome. What did your dad do?
So dad, he actually owned a tire store.
Okay.
And so he sold it. Now he's retired semi, and he delivers feed for a company right now.
Well, that takes a lot of courage. I mean, being in sales, especially back in the day where things were just on the ground, very personable, got to get in there. Yeah. So he was just like, all right, I'm going to teach you how to do this.
Yep,
so
he did.
That's awesome. All right. So you said you were singing. Do you know, like, are you a tenor? Are you an alto? Do you know that framework of language?
Okay. At Georgia Southwestern, I was a tenor.
Okay.
Personally, would I prefer singing that? No, probably more of a baritone in between, you know, bass and tenor. So
okay, that's awesome. All right, so middle school, high school, how did you relate to? I mean, just, you know, your colleagues, your friends. Were you big into sports, academics? What were you doing?
Okay, so I liked to copy my brother a lot, I guess, unintentionally, but I went into tennis. Like starting in middle school, I played tennis. And what else did I do? So in high school, I know I did JROTC. Okay. And so I did this thing called Raider. And so a lot of the JROTC people don't know what I'm talking about, but where you did like litter carries. Yeah, shout out to JROTC. Litter carries where you would like tie up a beanbag to a gurney and like run it across a football field. You know, kind of some random stuff, rope bridges. Tying yourself up a rope seat and crawling across a rope bridge. So it's kind of insane stuff, but fun.
All right. So you're learning how to be courageous. You're learning how to get out there. So was GSW the only school you were looking at? Did you go to a couple other places, or what were your expectations kind of going in from high school to?
Going in from high school, honestly, I didn't look around a lot. I'll be honest. Like I had a few colleges in my mind. Like you got Middle Georgia State, ABAC, just I don't know, just a lot of the closer, more notable colleges.
Did you want to stay close?
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't really know. Okay. I think really when I knew was when I came and visited Georgia Southwestern a lot as a junior and as a senior, and just. I had visited another college and they all just had this big vibe of, you know, you're kind of on your own here and just, but at Georgia Southwestern, everybody's welcoming you in like you could come eat dinner with them, you know, if you wanted to, and just, hey, come grab a rocking chair and let's hang out, you know, so.
So you really love that. So you mentioned a few times that you came up here. Was that for like school projects or?
So Butler, Georgia, kind of where I hang out a lot, isn't too far from here. My brother did the Georgia Movie Academy. I don't know if you know GMA.
No.
It's like where high schoolers do a movie project, and the Rylander was a big sponsor of that.
Oh, nice.
And so where they would present these movies, and I would come and watch him and watch his videos, and they would be in the Rylander. So I would come to Americus for that a lot. But I would come for preview days is what they're called. And so those are like big college days where they'll show off the college.
Okay. All right. So you talked a little bit about your dad. Who were some other people that were influential in your life as you were getting into college, or even before then, but just
even before then, man. One in particular, this guy named Mr. Dan.
Okay.
Everybody needs a sensei, I guess you could say. And so Mr. Dan, he was my like tennis mentor.
Okay.
And so this guy, I'm not saying anything, but he is it's like 70 70, 75, and he is whacking tennis balls.
Yeah.
And he's making me move and run, and he's still keeping active. And we would play tennis matches, and he just trained me really well. So he was a good tennis influence on me. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What were some other factors outside of just school and family that impacted you? Did you play any of the, you talked about tennis, but any other sports or just activities?
Sports activities. I did Raider with JROTC. I did tennis. Any other activities? I was in praise band at church.
Okay.
So almost every week I was singing in praise band.
Okay.
And so I did that.
You like that?
It was cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've sang a lot. I sang all throughout my childhood, all through now.
Did you do even the choir too with the robes? Did you do all of that?
Whoa. Not the robes.
Okay, man. You missed out on that.
Yeah. So we were congregational Methodists.
Okay.
So which I guess is similar to Baptist, but we never wore robes.
Okay.
But I would get up in the choir.
There you
go. Maybe a little sway here and there.
Yeah. Nice. Well, yeah. I mean, so you're going to GSW. You said this is the place.
Yeah.
What are you going for? What are you doing?
Okay. So, listen to my dad on this one. I had no idea what I was doing after high school. And what I have noticed in being a recruiter, most high schoolers do not know what they're doing either.
Mm-hmm.
There are a select few. But so I thought business.
Mm-hmm.
Business isn't everything. And my dad was a big proponent. He said, yeah, business degree, great. And so I believe him. I do think business isn't everything. And it is good to have that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into business management
and
graduated with that. And so learning how to run a business, your business plan, your marketing plan, how to be strategic, how to talk to people about your product. If they don't want it, then, and if they don't even know about it, how can they buy it? The accounting of it and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's great. Have you noticed, talking with students, have you noticed a trend of, is it getting easier for students going into college? Do they know what they want to do? Is that more or less? And are there any factors that would make that? I would assume there's more options. So people are like, I don't know what to do.
Yes.
Where maybe 50 years ago it was like, you got these 10 things that you do.
Yeah.
And so you just choose one of those.
Yeah.
Would you say something like that, or?
So I do think the amount of options and maybe just exposure to the internet and knowing that there is so much that they could do. There's actually a paralysis analysis.
Okay.
A lot of people, they actually say people are happier having 3 choices, say, of ice cream. If you had 3 choices of ice cream versus 50, it would take you way less time and you'd be more satisfied instead of the whole 50 and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that may have had an effect. But I think CTAE programs, do you know what that is?
No.
Career technical education, agriculture education. Those are programs in public high schools, I know, and where students can take a welding class, agriculture. And so they can kind of get exposed to these different fields. And so that can help students in picking what they want, CNA classes and stuff like that. But then there's still, those only cover so many areas.
That's right. Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of students like me who, may have liked those subjects, but don't necessarily want to work in those subjects.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
I remember I was born in 85. So I remember a lot more opportunities for arts in middle school, high school, other fields where it wasn't just academics and sports. There were a couple other things.
Yeah.
And so, being able to be exposed to a couple of those other little things, I think was helpful. But it starts at an early age of hey, what do you want to do? Well, if there's only learning and then sports, what do I do? So, all right. So you're getting your business degree. How do you get to stay here? Well, no, let me ask you this. What was your experience like of Americus and just being here as a student?
Okay. Yes. So, Americus was great. So Americus is a great place when it comes to just exploring. So you can, your parents can leave their kids here for college, and it's a great place for the students to get a little taste of life on their own, but not be overwhelmed in like maybe a big city environment.
Yeah.
This is a place where you can still know a lot of people, even like it's a small town and you can kind of know people and people kind of keep an eye on maybe you're a little rambunctious college student. But it was a lot of fun, you know, cookout, of course. In freshman year, you stay up super late because there's these people you've just met and you're just hanging out and having a good time, watching movies till 1 a.m., going to cookout at 1 a.m. as well. So,
yeah.
A lot of that. Definitely student organizations I was definitely involved in. Probably too many.
Okay.
Honestly.
Right. How many? I mean, do you have a number?
I don't necessarily have a number, but it was, you know, I could probably fill it both hands.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you've been a lot of mascots.
Yes, I have been a lot of mascots.
Okay, so let's talk about this.
Let's talk about that. So of course, let's see. My first one, the Taylor County Vikings.
Okay.
And so that was our high school mascot. And so I was a big Viking, had a big Viking hat, head on me. And actually, I've copied my brother. My brother was also the mascot. So I've done a lot of copying.
Okay. All right.
But so Viking, I've also been the strawberry for the Strawberry Festival in Reynolds, Georgia.
Okay.
And so that's a big thing every April. And so I was that.
Now, was that your dad saying you're going to be the strawberry, or was that a call?
This was one of my mom's nice woman friends that like, hey, sweetie, can you do us a favor? And so, yeah, sure, why not?
Why not?
But so that, and then. Also, turkey trot in Oglethorpe or Montezuma, somewhere in Macon County. Okay. And so I've been a turkey, and then I've also been Surge at Georgia Southwestern.
That's awesome. Now, I mean, that's a big role because we see Surge all the time. He's like trying to pump people up. Was that kind of hard to like really go after it, or do you just know you're behind the scenes, like behind the mask, so you're just like rolling it?
Well, being behind the masks, you can just kind of do what you want. But I do think with me mentioning my father and how he really pressured, encouraged me to do fun things out of the ordinary, I think it was easy for me.
Yeah.
And you can, you can just talk and hang out with people that you really wouldn't in normal circumstances. So,
That's right. I bet you had to upset a lot of the kids, and because you only had so much, you're like throwing out, and all the kids are like, what about me? And you're like, gotta leave you.
Or the kids that are scared of you and they start crying.
Which was my daughter for a while. We had to like get her warmed up to Surge. So I'm gonna tell her tonight, and she'll be like,
I met Surge.
Yeah, that's right.
My gosh.
All right. So all right. In college, rocking it. Just being a part of so many things. Did you feel like those were kind of adding value to you, or were you just kind of experiencing it?
I mean, I do think being in those organizations, probably the best thing out of those was the relationships. I think I just like to try a lot of things, and then I, find what I like, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to do this new thing, but I also this other thing, I can't do everything, and that's a hard lesson that some people have to learn. Some people need to learn to put on more things. Yeah. Then some people need to learn to take off some stuff because. When you start, when you go to college for learning and then there's not a lot of learning going on because you're doing these experiential things, you probably need to kind of take back a little bit.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's harder to get people to get involved in things or to slow people down?
I think it's harder to get people involved in things because the people that are doing things are doing almost everything. And so those people are great. Yeah. But we need some of those, maybe a little more chillaxed people to say, hey, maybe try something, take the burden off of those busybodies, if you will. How
have you incentivized people that were just kind of just hanging around going, let's do this. Let's get involved.
Let's get involved, man. Honestly, I guess just when I talk to people, I say, hey, you can do this. Why not? Why not do this? I know definitely when I'm recruiting students, a lot of the time they'll ask me if we have a specific club on campus, a specific organization. And I'm said, hey, we may not have that thing, but you can start it.
Yeah.
And you can actually have on your resume, I started an organization. And so when you put it in that frame of light, students are like, they think they're actually kind of scared because they're like, that's a lot of responsibility, but it is a really cool thing that you can do.
Yeah.
So,
that's really good.
So, yeah.
All right. So you're going through that. You're tied in. What gets you to stay here
at GSW and Americus and all that?
Yeah. After you're graduating, do you know where you're going? You know what you're doing then?
Okay. So when I'm graduating from Georgia Southwestern, I still have no idea. I'm like in my last 2 months, 3 months, that random thought that you'll have. And you're just like, what am I doing after this? I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then, 3 months before graduation, I don't know. 2 months before graduation, I don't know. And then you kind of start thinking about things. Thought about being an astronaut for a night. That didn't work.
One night.
One night. Literally, I went down the YouTube rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. But then I saw this guy that was a recruiter, and I said, that looks like an interesting gig. Mm-hmm. And so I actually asked to talk to him. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, what's this whole recruiting thing about?
Yeah.
And so he talked to me, and he was like, yeah, it's really cool. You get to go meet a lot of people and just travel Georgia. And I even go into Florida and Alabama, those foreign countries that we know.
Yeah.
No, but so it's a really cool gig. And so I enjoy it a lot. But I actually didn't get my job the first time. Okay. I applied, didn't get it. But then I got a call back, and they said, hey, I think you'd do great for this other recruiting position. And so I took it, and here we are 2 years later.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So living here now, how do you see Americus different? Do you see GSW different from when you came in? Or have you just enjoyed it more?
Yeah. So like college is definitely different. And then if you bring in the C word, COVID.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But
yeah.
College was definitely different before COVID. Mm-hmm. And then during, of course, everybody dealt with that. But then after, it did feel a little different. And then I was in it from before and after COVID and during. But then.
Yeah. So you got recruited when? I mean, you started recruiting when?
I started recruiting in 22. So the summer of 22.
Okay.
And so I was all after COVID when I was recruiting.
Okay.
But there was definitely a slow build up back to normalcy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about some unique challenges after COVID. That's different.
That's different. Okay. So definitely one thing, transcripts.
Okay.
So I'm not trying to talk about anybody, but like there was a big thing where during the COVID year, a lot of people didn't do well academically. I don't know if there's, maybe internet access could have been a problem in that. But then also students may just not have turned in their work or knew how to function in that environment. So a lot of students actually didn't do great during COVID. And so their transcripts, there's a lot of W's or a lot of P's for passes. There's not necessarily a grade.
Yeah.
So that's one thing.
Okay.
And then rephrase the question. What was the question again?
Yeah. Just like, what have you noticed since COVID? I mean, just even being a recruiter, whether it's a students or just the campus, that's been a challenge, or even something that's been a highlight that you're glad that it's changed or adapted since then?
One thing, we actually, COVID actually slowed down a lot of recruiting events. Mm-hmm. And so we would have like a lot of recruiting events that we used to go to Florida more. We used to go to like Alabama, out of state more, I think a little bit. But then we actually just during COVID, we kind of had to hone in on our local areas and stuff. Atlanta, our population was not great during COVID, getting those Atlanta students to come down to GSW. But It has actually picked up since then. And so now there's a lot more events. Schools we haven't been able to get into for the last 2 years have started saying, hey, we're having events again. And so some of those COVID policies kind of lingered even after COVID has been pretty gone for a while. But so a lot of those opportunities are opening back up.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit too last week about was it last year or this? Yeah, it was last year. There was a very high number of students that came in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you for bringing that up.
That's
a little
right.
brag moment for Georgia Southwestern.
Yeah, tell us.
According to the University System of Georgia, for the fall enrollment of last fall, we are actually the fastest growing institution in the state of Georgia.
Wow.
And in the university system. And so we're very proud of that.
Yeah. Must have had a great recruiter.
Yeah. Maybe there's actually a joke the president said where he kind of called out one of our other recruiters. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
But Dr. Weaver, I'm kind of salty about it. But but we're okay. But no, it was a good group effort. But I do think we do have some really good people folks.
Is the kind of the expectation for even coming into this year, into the fall and things like that? Do you see that trend still, or?
Yeah. So, a little spoiler alert. I mean, we're on track to do equal, if not better.
Oh, that's great.
So, a little shoulder brush moment for you, but no, we're excited. But yeah, that's going to test our abilities, of course.
Yeah.
And the whole university is going to feel it, but we are excited about that growth.
Okay. Now, I mean, is there like a specific goal that you all want to reach as a university that you're going after, or is it just kind of general? Let's just keep growing.
I'm gonna be honest. So I don't really know maybe the end vision. I do know that we have vision statements at Georgia Southwestern, and I think what we really focus on is not necessarily the growth, but we want the quality of who we are as a university. I think that's really what we focus on. Yeah. Because that's the thing. We don't want to be UGA. We don't want to be Georgia Tech because they're them. Yeah. And they have a great niche. If you want to go to a large university, UGA and Georgia Tech could, they kind of fit that mold. Georgia State even. Georgia Southwestern, we don't really fit that mold. And we're not really trying to recruit those students that are looking for that mold. We're trying to get those students that may want somewhere a little smaller, a little more personal atmosphere. So,
yeah. Well, give me your pitch, right? So you've got all the students coming in last year, this year. How do you guys pitch it?
Okay, how do we pitch it? So whether you know GSW or whether you don't know GSW, I mean, we even want to talk to our local people. They may think, "Oh, I know GSW. They're just not for me." But we encourage anybody and everybody to come visit us. And we are a university that we are not a big university. We're a smaller, schmedium, if you will. That's our coined phrase we use. Nice. So schmedium university. So if you were looking for personal relationships with your professor, I mean, me, even as a student, I've had opportunities to eat dinner with my professors, to be involved in extracurricular activities where we would volunteer. Our professor was involved in a community group, and we got to volunteer with that community group with them. You got some extra credit, or just have fun and enjoy or do a club thing with them. So it's all that was a lot of fun. Yeah, for sure.
I love it. Yeah, I've really loved. I've seen the value that GSW has been putting in, especially in their sports program over the last few years. I've noticed that, and so I'm very, very thankful. My daughter was a Hurricane for the day for the soccer team, for the women's soccer team, and she is just all in. She wants to go to GSW. Yeah. She wants to play soccer.
Come on, hey, if you need my business card, let me know.
There it is. But it's that small town feel of, hey, a coach reached out and said, hey, we'd love to have your daughter come and spend some time with us. The team came around her and just treated her very, very special, and she really feels that. And so I'm very thankful for GSW, and hope you guys continue to thrive. So, well, let's talk a little bit about kind of the future too of Americus, right?
Yeah.
As we're talking about not just growing, we're talking about thriving, we're talking about quality. What do you hope for personally? You're living here, 5-10 years. What do you hope to see in Americus over the next 5 to 10 years?
Okay, so and this is kind of a hot topic.
Okay,
so I'm not going to go off on anybody. I'm not going to do that. But what a lot of college students have really told me is that Americus is a college town that may not know it's a college town. And so one of the real hurters, I would say, if that even is a word, is like maybe entertainment. So like, we used to have a movie theater here, RIP. But so just things like that can really attract students. But I will say we do a great job at events in Americus. And so having those events, like special events and stuff like that, those are real things to help with that. But
yeah, absolutely. What have you noticed? Again, going on a little bit of a deeper level, not just the kind of the fruit, but kind of the root. What are some values that you have experienced just living here in Americus that you think it just has to stay in order for Americus to be who
Americus is? So the thing that I love about Americus is that it is a bigger small town. So it has all the great things of a small town where people know each other. We have all these contacts. I mean, just me and you talking about all the people that have, maybe been on this podcast and just kind of those connections. And so we can do that. If you're in Atlanta, it's kind of hard to know everybody, I guess. But we need to keep that small town kind of connections. But we're also large enough to where there's a lot of random, really cool opportunities here. Glass blowing. Yeah. That's a really random niche thing, but it is a really cool thing that Americus owns. Yeah. Not to mention the glass blowing festival, craft beer festival, and all that.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah.
And so yeah. But the close knitness, hospitality, I think you've mentioned before. Yeah. I do agree that people are they care about you genuinely. Yeah. Genuine caring is kind of a big thing as well. And that's kind of one of the things, I guess, modeled at Georgia Southwestern as well. Something that I felt when I went and toured. You feel like they're literally welcoming you in as a family member. Of just like, hey, come on, we'll show you around, Yeah. Come on, you want something to drink, man? Kind of like someone's welcoming you into their home. Yeah. And Americus needs to keep that. I highly suggest that. So.
Yeah. That's good. What are some things? So sometimes when I think about like just vision ideas, and just trying to plan that out, I ask the question, what do we need to start doing? What do we need to stop doing? And what's one thing that we can't stop doing? So we kind of already answered that question of what do we need to not stop doing? Hospitality. It's very important. It makes us who we are. Yeah. But what are some things that, all right. And then you mentioned some things that we could start doing, having more entertainment for students. Yeah. What are some things that we might need to just stop doing that would not be good?
Stop doing. I don't know. Let's see. Because I think Americus really does try. I think we do a great job of really trying to go and do these things. Stop doing. I don't know.
Or what are some things that we need to get better at? We're doing it, but we're not necessarily missing the mark. But we could grow in. We can become better at it.
I guess maybe keeping people connected.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned it again, not feeling like the college town that's in a college town, right? So it's college just in a college.
So there may be some kind of connection missing between the student body and GSW, or not GSW, but Americus, maybe. Yeah. But so even with any organization or any church, for example, you can invite someone to an event. and they may come to that one event, but it has to be a continual relationship of, constant contact of like, hey, we still have this event. We still want you to come, and things like that. And just kind of, I guess, making people feel welcome and want to come to events and stuff, but also figuring out how to get that word out in the way that's going to reach the amount of people that you want.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I think, one of the things I've noticed just with talking to different people, that there are a lot of people that are really interested in seeing Americus thrive and get connected. And there are a lot of organizations that are working towards that. But yet there seems to be a disconnect of those organizations. Do they know each other? Are they kind of working together to kind of see that through? And I think that's just that'll just take time. We want to just continue to see that grow. But yeah, so in light of that, so what can we do on the ground? A lot of times we'll say, hey, next 5-10 years, let's start some businesses. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Now you might be the person that starts that business, right? That's what we want to see too.
Yeah.
But what are some things that we can do on the ground? Because we're talking about even neighboring well together. So if we want to see this 5-10 years from now, what are some things that people like you and I, that may not own a business or, that are just here, citizens of Americus, what can we do to see the city thrive?
So connections, I think being a neighbor.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this podcast is about, how to be a better neighbor. And so I think one thing that we can do to be better neighbors and to help this town thrive is to connect people with people that can help them. So a student who may want to work in insurance, you got Marty McDonald, connect them with somebody that that works in insurance. Let's say you need someone to paint your house. Oh, I know old Joe down the street, he's really good at that. But really just, I guess, connecting people with who they want whatever they want to get into, kind of connect them with someone that that maybe can help them.
Yeah.
Maybe there needs to be some mentorship programs where maybe someone from the city can come and mentor a college student, or maybe even do like a class, or come do like some speaking events or something like that, and really engage the student body at GSW or just in the community as a whole.
Yeah.
So
that's
stuff
good.
like that.
That's good. You mentioned college students giving some reasons why they feel like this is not a college town. Have you heard, outside of entertainment, have you heard anything else? Like, they're getting their education here. It's quality education. Yeah. The best education in Georgia.
Yes, of course.
Right? Okay. I just want to make that's clear. And then they graduate and they're off, right? They're maybe starting businesses. They're investing somewhere.
Yeah.
What are some other elements that this city can do to keep them here so they would invest here?
I'm not sure. Because, there's some business like accounting. Dude, if you ever go to an accounting fair at GSW, the accounting folks show up.
Yeah.
Like literally there's a fair just for accountants, like accountant firms to come. So all you other businesses need to model the accountants because they are doing great. But yeah, so I don't know. Ask the question one more time, and then maybe I think I can.
Yeah. What are some elements that the city can continue to work on to have students want to stay here and invest here? Whether that's start a family here, start a business here. What are some things that we could do to attract them? And that all that talent that's here for a couple of years.
Yeah. So I would assume, I guess, maybe like job, plugging them in with a job they can get involved with. Whether I don't know if they need maybe a job where they're working while they're in college, and interning. Yeah. Internships. A lot of students actually can take internships and get college credit for it. That's actually what I did.
Yeah.
And so if you're a business and you're looking for someone to kind of maybe take the reins or maybe even grow in your business, you need some good employees, consider having some internships with Georgia Southwestern or something like that.
So how could a business owner connect to GSW in that way? What would they need to do?
Okay. So probably first up would be university relations.
Okay.
So, I mean, Chelsea Collins, I think her department in university relations could be great for that. Maybe some specific colleges, like let's say the school system is looking for teachers. Talk to the College of Education, Dr. Rachel Abbott. I mean, you can talk with her and say, hey, we want teachers from Georgia Southwestern. Please give us teachers. And so there may be some financial incentives possibly for that. College of Business, the accounting people, they really, I'm telling you, them accountants, man,
they got the blueprint.
Yeah. I guess the money doesn't lie. They're smart, but so stuff like that really. So connecting them maybe with a job.
Okay.
And other people in the community as well.
Now, we didn't mention this, but GSW is known for their nursing program too, right?
Oh.
A lot of people from nursing, right?
Snap, yes.
What's the deal?
What's the deal? Okay, so honestly, I don't know if it's kind of random, but like GSW has always just kind of been known for nursing, but possibly. I think one big thing, Rosalind Carter. Okay. And so she kind of started this thing called the Rosalind Carter Institute. And so that's for healthcare and stuff like that. It also kind of goes into long-term care management is also kind of another field that we have. But nursing has been huge. And so we have a smaller, I guess, more close-knit nursing program. The cohorts, they take every class together. So you are with the same cohort throughout the 2 years of your nursing school.
Okay.
And so
yeah, that's great.
I mean, you're growing with these people the whole time you're in nursing school. But we also have a GAP program, which is really cool. So the Guaranteed Acceptance Program. So as a senior in high school, if you have the right qualifications, you are able to apply for this program and have a guaranteed spot in the nursing program. And that's really cool because there's only really 40 spots, I think. I mean, the viewers may correct me, but I think there's only about 40 spots. Okay. So that's why that's a really cool thing. And we've been voted number 1 in the state of Georgia before. Yeah. And we actually had 100% pass rate on the NCLEX. And that is the RN test. Yeah. And so literally our last cohort did not fail at all.
Yeah, that's a huge win.
It's huge, unheard of.
Yeah, that's definitely a reason to come and meet some of these amazing people and professors and well, let me do this, Jacob. Let's spend a little bit more time just on you. Okay. This is what we kind of do as we kind of even wrap up. We do what we call rapid fire questions, so we get a chance to ask you specific questions about you. Okay. And so. I'm just going to ask a couple of questions and you just give me kind of your just quick response.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Now, I was going to try to set it up and be like, well, I'll wait on that. All right.
Okay. Too good of a question.
Too good of a question. No, it's more of like because I know you're single, right? So I was like, I'm going to get you set up. Whoa. Get you set up. Let's kind of see. Let's kind of see what kind of man you are, right? So,
yeah.
All right. So didn't want to throw it out there though, but I did. So here it is.
Oh,
all right.
Well.
You're going to do great. All right. So what's your favorite book or your author?
Favorite book. Oh man. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I don't really read a whole lot in my free time. I'll read a lot of like self-help books. Okay. And the Bible. That's a big one.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't.
You're like Moses, Old Testament.
If we're gonna get into that,
author, you can do an author.
Paul. Paul is. I mean, that's a pretty good blanket statement one. Right. But no, I don't have any super specific authors. But.
Okay. All right. Do you drink coffee or tea?
Both.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of cheap. And so like whatever I have is kind of so I actually just ran out of coffee. So right now I have only tea. So I've been rocking the tea.
Nice. You get that great value coffee?
I don't know. I'll be honest. Like I'll do some Cafe Campesino if I want to be bougie.
Yeah, come on. It's fair trade coffee though too, right? So that's good.
Yeah, it is great. It's probably the best tasting I've had, but sometimes I'll go over to the, the cheap stuff. I'll be
Okay.
honest.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Dogs or cats? What kind of person are you?
Ooh, okay. So I like them both, but
Okay.
personally, if I was going to have one, a cat.
Okay. And why? Why is that?
Why? They're just less needy.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just my opinion, man. You don't have to take the dog out you don't have to take the cat out to use the bathroom unless you have a weird cat.
Yeah.
But you can just put them in the litter box. They can chill.
Yeah.
They're not as needy.
Dude, they're making these litter boxes insane now. I mean, they're just so.
Are
There's
you
so much
talking about the
technology.
rotating one?
Yes, it's just
No.
like, what's going on here? It's insane.
Is your cat about to take off? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. If you're going to go on vacation, are you going to go to the beach or to the mountains?
I think I'm more of a mountain guy.
Okay.
But,
What?
I don't mind getting a little sun.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have
Yeah.
the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. What's your favorite hobby?
Favorite hobby?
Yeah. What do you like doing?
I'll be honest. Ping pong.
What? Are you like a champion ping pong?
Dude, I actually am.
Yeah.
My freshman year,
Why?
dude,
Mascots and ping pong.
my freshman year of college, I entered this tournament, this ping pong tournament, and I won the whole thing. And that is just one of my most favorite
Yes.
memories.
Do you have a picture? Do you have like the?
No, I have
Oh
the
my
memories,
gosh,
and I
dude.
have the victims as
Okay.
well. You can ask them.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I love it. I love ping pong. I'm good enough to play, but not.
Yeah.
If you start spinning the ball, I'm
Oh,
out.
dude,
I'm
I've got
way
some
out.
spin for him.
Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. What was the last movie that you watched?
What was the last movie I watched? Oh my gosh, what was it? Oh, it was Transcendence.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got Johnny Depp in it.
Okay.
And it's about AI.
Wow.
And a little bit of also a hot topic, so
Yeah, that's right.
but yeah, so yeah. it was
Okay.
good.
Are you early bird or are you a night owl? Like, what do you like doing?
Man, I would rather stay up later.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd rather be a night owl, even though I can get up and be perky if I need to. But I would rather, do it at night or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
No questions, teleportation.
What?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, because
All right.
I run late to everything. If I could
Nice.
just
do
bam, I'm there.
Oh my gosh. There was a really good movie with the guy that played Star Wars. It was Looper or something like that. It was really good.
Okay.
But it was like if he saw it, he could go there.
Yes.
Check it out.
Okay.
It's a really good movie. It's like a little thriller.
Yes.
So-
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Anakin.
Yeah, the Anakin guy.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was a really great movie. I was
Yeah.
like, that's pretty cool. All right. All right. So you're a singer. What's your favorite song? Do you have a favorite song or genre or what?
Oh man, dude, 80s rock.
Okay.
Get some stinking falsetto.
Okay.
The Bee Gees.
Uh-huh.
Staying. Oh, you can't tell.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
Just
dude.
rocking it out.
Just go. Yeah, it's not my best. I
Okay.
didn't say I sounded good on those
Yeah.
songs, but I do like singing those songs.
That's great. Now we did talk a little bit earlier. How often do you get a chance to sing?
Ooh, okay. So I sing at church at Central Baptist, and so every 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
Okay.
something like that, I get to sing. But then at my house, I can sing every day if I want.
That's right.
So,
Knocking it out. All right. What is one thing that maybe people misunderstand about you?
Okay. Wow.
It goes real deep.
I was like, dang. Some maybe my niceness for flirting,
Okay.
possibly.
Mhm.
Sorry, ladies. I'm just trying to be nice.
That's right.
That may be that's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Man. Okay, this is a really good one.
Okay.
I've had these 60 to 70-year-old men come up to me and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And then they're like, you know what? I'm still waiting to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up. And so there are some people who just don't know what they're doing, or, they're just taking it a piece at a time. And so my encouragement to high school students and people who feel like, man, I don't have my life figured out, it's okay. You
Yeah.
can just take it a little bit at a time. God's got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's good. What was the worst job that you ever had?
Oh man. I don't necessarily want to say.
You're like
but-
strawberry was.
Oh, that strawberry mascot? Yeah. Pretty hot. Let's
Yeah.
see. Probably I don't know. Okay, so I had to I'm not the best with editing footage or anything like that, but I had to work for a telephone company and actually filmed county meetings, which was cool.
Okay.
But it was really cool, and I enjoyed the people and stuff. But I don't really like editing that much,
Yeah.
so it was a little tedious for me.
I understand that. All right, last one. What is your favorite restaurant where you like to go?
Favorite restaurant? Huh. Man.
No pressure.
Okay, I really like Chinese.
Okay.
I'll be honest. I really like Chinese.
Okay.
But I'm probably gonna go to Taco-Ray after this. Honestly.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Taco Ray is really great. I love taking people to Taco Ray.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
good spot, man.
I
It's a really
wouldn't
good
have known
spot.
that actually.
Yes. That is that's our bloopers. That's what we'll at the end cuts.
Yeah,
do
sure.
one of those. Well, Jacob, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for loving Americus. Thank you so much for loving GSW, for recruiting people, for wanting people to be here, and then really highlighting so much of the values that Americus brings to an individual.
Yeah.
But being honest about it too, like enjoying the values that are here, and not trying to be someone that we're not.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really awesome. Because again, like we said, if things grow, that's great. But if we're giving quality and we're giving value, at a deeper level, then if people come, they're going to experience those things.
Yeah.
And I
They're
think
gonna
that
come and stay.
that's right. Yeah. So even as a neighbor, if you're still trying to figure out what you're trying to do, or if you're just saying, "Hey, how do I make impact in a city like this?"
Yeah.
It's a great way to do that is to see every day as an opportunity to show people how hospitable you can be. And welcome them in. And sometimes that's just to your dinner table. Sometimes that's just to the next event that you're going to.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to try to go to basketball Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be like, hey, come on, play, watch basketball game. It's going to be great.
Yeah. that'd be
So
great.
just bring people along with you. I think it's going to be really good. So, but yeah, Jacob, thank you so much for coming on.
Dude, thanks for having me, John. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. And we get great on time. I think we're going to be at like 52, 53 minutes. Awesome, which is perfect. It's exactly where I want to be. So yeah, I want to see that 53.